I want to welcome you to this week's edition of Truth Tellin' Tuesdays, because we are truth telling some harsh marketing truths that are really all about your advertising and marketing. And this week's really gets my goat because it is all about people who say, in good spirit to some degree, just run some Facebook ads, right? So I'm part of different groups on Facebook, groups in person, live things. I overhear things at seminars, workshops, all the rest of it, where someone's telling you some really great strategy or tactic. And you're like, I can do that. And they spell the whole thing out. They say, do this first, do that second, do this third, do that fourth. And boom, you're going to have all these people who are really interested in what you want. And so someone says, okay, what's the first step? How do I make X, Y, or Z happen? And they say, just run some Facebook ads. And boom, you hear a hush, and then you hear a buzz in the room if you're in a room. And the audience is kind of livid, or if they're freaking out, or they're really pissed off because they're saying, wait a second, I'm following exactly what you're saying, but now I have to run Facebook ads. I don't know how to run Facebook ads. I don't know how to do Facebook ads. And this happens all the time. It is such a little throwaway for people to make it your problem when to make their stuff work, you have to run a Facebook ad. And that is not your fault. I want to say that one more time. People tell you, just do something like it's as simple as pouring a glass of water and drinking it. Do that and this whole thing will work. And without that, you're going to really struggle. But that one thing is always the same, and it is Facebook ads. It is that first touch that you have with your audience. Because if you've watched anything of mine before, you know that we have this nice little cycle that never ends. It is traffic and conversion, because the first half of people coming into your world and buying your product or service, that's traffic. They have to see your offer and get introduced to you, especially if it's a digital product or service. Ultimately, this happens all the time in digital marketing. This is what we know, right? You hear somebody else with their nice offer. Oh, do X, Y, and Z. All you have to do is set up some landing pages and some thank you pages and do some a 7-series autoresponder email series. And you have to set up X, Y, and Z in a shopping cart. And you're like, how is that possible? Because someone pretended. They gave you the wrong message and they actually delivered the wrong belief to you that it was easy to just throw up some Facebook ads. And this breaks my heart because these are the people who I end up talking to who are hitting their head against a wall saying, I can't make X, Y, or Z work. And I say, well, what are you doing for step 1 to make what you're describing work? It all sounds great, but how are you actually getting this in front of people? And they say, I don't know. They told me just run some Facebook ads. And that's where I say, this is not your fault. Shame on them for making it an afterthought. Because here's what we know. Facebook ads are strategic, they're intentional. They are literally the first introduction you have to somebody. I want you to flip the script for a second. For a total stranger, if I am a total stranger and if you were the total stranger, how do you get introduced to somebody online, right? You have to introduce yourself and say, hey, I have a feeling you have this problem. And I want to actually introduce myself, tell you I think I'm the person to help solve your problem. And I want you to come into my world. I want you to look at my content. I want you to take my lead magnet, come onto my list so I can help you faster. That's what traffic is actually about. But here's what we know. Everyone shortcuts it. Everyone cuts it off. Everyone wants to do a launch and make 6 and 7 figures, but they don't want to get the offer in front of people the effective right way. So you're dooming yourself from the start. You are setting yourself up for failure when you're trying to launch a product or a service and trying to make 6 figures the first time you sold anything online, and you're not showing that offer to anybody. And that is not your fault. Because a lot of these systems, right, they take it for granted, right? You're paying a lot to use that system, right? And they just want to make that system work. But it's up to you to figure out how to make the first half of that equation, traffic, not the conversion, that's what you're using them for, but traffic actually work. How does that work out well? Who's the one who gets screwed? I think I have an idea. And worst of all, this is what really gets my goat, okay? This makes me crazy, is that you're the one who has to waste your money trying to figure out what's so simple. Just run a Facebook ad, just run some ads, just throw some ads together, try it out. Then you have to waste your money to make that kind of work. And it rarely, almost never works, right? Boosting posts, trying things out, the trial and error, right? Actually, ads has a nice, easy, fluid system. It's a strategy and a tactic, and it's a great way to say, hi, my name is Christina. I'm a yoga teacher, and you've been trying to start a at-home yoga practice, and you're really struggling. But I have the answer because I've been a yoga instructor for 22 years, and I see people who want to start slow at home. And then the conversation goes on. But until then, if you're investing hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in something where someone's telling you, just run some Facebook ads, and you're freaking out, that is not on you, that's on them, all right? Where nothing is step-by-step. So if you want to get a little more step-by-step simplicity, if you want to make the first half of that equation, I want to point out, it's the first half, not the second half, right? Where you maybe invest to help yourself make more sales, build a business. You're probably investing in the second half, which is the conversion half, where people are going to convert onto your list. People are going to convert into customers. That's the second half. The first half is what? Traffic, right? The first half is traffic. And without traffic, there's no one there to make the second half happen. So this is not your fault. I need you to hear that. But I also, now that you know that, need you to take up the mantle and say, that wasn't quite fair of them. Maybe a little bit shame on them. But now the ball is in my court to figure out how to make my traffic work. And I have to say, 8 or 9 times out of 10, this is how most people really come to delve into understanding and using Facebook ads properly and using traffic properly, because they're going for the kill, right? They're going to grab the jugular and make a sale, but they haven't established any relationship first. And that's okay, because ads slows you down just enough to have a real relationship with the person who you want to take on your product or your service. And that's a good thing, right? That person will become a super fan. That person will become the person who refers you all over creation, and you have way more natural, organic, referred people coming to you. But we have to make traffic happen effectively, cost effectively, but simply. Because in actuality, let's talk about this. Traffic and ads are not intuitive. In fact, what I realize, because I do this for other people, is that so much of traffic and advertising is totally counterintuitive. It's against how you think about it. But that's why advertising is so effective. That is why total strangers are willing to say, I'm going to give you my money to make something work for me. That's a very interesting proposition, right? If you go out into the world to make a living and a salary, that's a long process where you get to know an employer gets to know you. That is not the same in digital marketing land. So we have to take a little extra time, at least, to introduce ourselves and say, hey, my name's Christina. I'm going to help you build an at-home yoga practice like that. But I need you to get to know me a little better, and I need to get to know you a little better, because no one should be told that these things are simple. Ads are not intuitive. Ads are not something you can throw together and expect success. I have never, ever, and I repeat this, I have never seen someone build a 6 or 7 figure business through the boosting post process. And that is the message that we're given, though, isn't it? Right? Oh, just do this, and you're going to have 1 million people see this, and you're going to have an amazing business. I have never seen that happen. You can have a little success here and there. It ain't consistent, and that's the important thing. So if this is you and you have found yourself at the receiving end, or I will say at the mercy of someone who had the audacity to say to you, well, you know what? Just throw some ads together. then they have done you a disservice, but you are here now. And you can click the button that's in the comments below and get more information about using ads the right way, because that's the first step, right? It's about saying, where's my responsibility here? Actually, it's not my responsibility to just throw some ads together and cross my fingers and hope for the best. That's hope marketing, and hope marketing never works. Really almost shameful, totally audacious people who say, just throw some ads out there, because that's what gets my goat. So if this is you, right? We are truth telling on Tuesdays, and it is not you if you have been told that. Ads are not intuitive, ads are not easy, but you can make ads easy. And honestly, with our traffic and conversion flow that never ends, right? If you want to make the conversions down below, you got to get the traffic in the top end. But you have to make that make sense for you. You have to make it easy. It's not intuitive. So give yourself a chance to make more conversions by having more better traffic, who is warm to you, who you've introduced yourself to, who gets to know and love you, and ultimately who gets to become your super fan and your best referral. These people who will refer you more than anybody you can ever imagine, because they know you and they love you. You've surpassed the know, like, and trust. People love you. You're their authority. But you can't get there if you're trying to implement someone else's strategy that's all about do X, Y, and Z, but first, just throw some Facebook ads out there. That's not on you, that's on them. But now the ball is in your court. It's not difficult, right? It's terrible when people tell you that. So go forth gaining knowledge, go forth knowing that this is a counterintuitive process, but it is yours to take up and start to just understand better and go step by step, but start by introducing yourself. And I want to give you one really direct tactic, which is to say, the experience of Facebook ads for so many people when they're just trying to throw some ads out there is they're completely overwhelmed by this entire process. Here's my number one tactic to simplify the whole journey and process. Use a funnel builder like Funnelytics.com or something comparable. Funnelytics at the start at least is free. I recommend you use the free version, Funnelytics.com. Oh, it's not .com. Just Google Funnelytics. It's like Funnelytics.io. And that's where you want to go to spell your little funnel out at first. Someone does this, and then when they do that, they do that. And when then this happens, that happens. And then you're gonna know exactly what the first, second, and third ads are that you should be running. And then you and I will talk about how to make those ads explode and take flight in a completely way, in a way that you perhaps never thought would be so easy. Because Facebook ads can be made easy, but we can make them easy together. They are not easy on their own. So thanks for joining me for Truth Tellin' Tuesday. I'm so excited to come here and tell difficult, sometimes harsh truths about marketing, but the stuff that you have to look at and see through and know that it's not you. It is actually time for you to do something better because you now have the resources to do that. I'll see you next time we do some truth telling.